You walk out of the room, and honestly, the silence just hits you. It's not like that nice quiet you get in a library or early in the morning when the coffee is brewing. It's heavy. It presses against your ears. I don't know how else to describe it. Just a minute ago, you were laughing, nodding, saying all the right things, mirroring everyone else's faces. You felt like part of the machine, a gear turning smoothly. But now, standing alone in the parking lot, or maybe just in your own hallway where the light flickers a bit, you feel weirdly lost. You catch your reflection in a dark window, and for a second you think, who is that? Was that really you in there? Or was it just a bunch of masks taped together to get through the hour? It's not just being tired from talking too much. It's something deeper. Kind of insidious, I guess. It's like yourself is slowly eroding. You didn't lose your mind because of one big crazy moment or some sudden tragedy. You lost it in 1,000 tiny compromises. A million little agreements to be someone else, so other people wouldn't feel awkward. Every time you swallowed a truth just to keep the peace. Every time you laughed at a joke that actually made your stomach turn. Every time you nodded along with a lie, you chipped off a piece of your own foundation. And sure, we're told humans are social animals, that we die alone and thrive in groups. But what if the group is the thing killing us? What if constantly having to perform, to align, to merge your brain with all that collective noise is just a slow poison dissolving the lines of who you are? The destruction isn't loud. There are no sirens. It happens in the soft murmur of conversation, in that gentle pressure to fit in the warm, suffocating hug of belonging that asks for your identity as the ticket price. Think about the last time you walked into a room full of people. Before you even said a word, your body started working. Your posture changed, your voice shifted to match theirs, and your thoughts started filtering themselves before they could even fully form. It's not just being polite, it's a survival thing rooted in deep fear. We are terrified of being rejected, of being kicked out of the tribe, of standing alone against whatever is out there. So, we trade being real for safety. We put on the mask of the agreeable coworker, the charming friend, the compliant family member. In the workplace, this plays out with scary precision. You sit in a meeting where a decision is being made, and you know it's wrong. Maybe it's unethical, maybe dangerous. You see the flaw in the logic, the crack in the moral structure, but everyone else is nodding. The air in the room feels thick, like humid summer air before a storm, with this unspoken agreement hanging over everything. To speak up would break the rhythm, introduce discord, risk your standing. So you stay silent. You nod too. And in that moment of silence, a part of your integrity dies. It's a small death, barely noticeable, but it adds up. Over years, these small deaths pile up until you wake up one day and realize you don't know what you actually believe anymore. Your opinions are just echoes of the last person you talked to. Your values are flexible, bending wherever the wind blows. You've become a vessel for other people's thoughts, a hollow shell shaped by what the crowd expects. It's like that porcupine story come to life. We huddle together for warmth, but we prick each other with our defenses, forcing everyone to sand down their sharpest edges just to get close. We smooth out our principles until we're harmless and utterly forgettable. How many times today did you say yes when your whole body screamed no? How many times did you suppress a flash of insight because it didn't fit the group's story? We convince ourselves this is maturity, that this is just how the world works. But it's not maturity. It's surrender. It's the gradual colonization of your mind by the collective, leaving no room for your own self to breathe. And the biggest casualty of this endless performance is solitude. Not the loneliness we're scared of, but that rich, fertile ground of true aloneness where the self is actually forged. In our modern world, silence has become unbearable. We fill every gap with noise, with texts, calls, the endless scroll of digital connection. We are terrified of being left alone with our own thoughts because, in the silence, the masks start to slip. In the quiet, we have to face the gap between who we are and who we pretend to be. Socializing, in its excessive and mindless form, is just running away from this confrontation. It's a massive distraction technique. When we are constantly surrounded by others, we never have to face the hard questions. We never have to examine the cracks in our own character because the external noise drowns out the internal whisper. Think of a dinner party where everyone is talking, but no one is listening, where the conversation skims the surface, avoiding anything real or dangerous, or the office break room where the talk is all about the weather, the sports game, the trivialities of the day, anything to avoid the weight of existence. We use these interactions as anesthesia. We numb ourselves to the depth of our own lives by losing ourselves in the shallow end of the collective pool. But without solitude, there can be no growth. Great thoughts, strong convictions, they aren't born in the crowd. They are born in the stillness, in the quiet hours when the world is asleep and the mind is free to wander its own paths. When we deny ourselves this solitude, we deny ourselves the chance to become whole. We become fragmented, scattered across a dozen different conversations, none of which truly belong to us. We trade our clarity for approval, and in doing so, we become strangers to ourselves. The mind that is constantly engaged with others is a mind that is constantly reacting, never acting. It's a mirror reflecting 1,000 different images, none of them stable, none of them real. To reclaim your mind, you must first reclaim your silence. You must be willing to sit in the discomfort of your own company, to listen to the voice that speaks only when the world is quiet. Only then can you begin to distinguish your own truth from the chorus of lies. There's this pervasive illusion that more socializing equals more happiness, that a packed calendar and a wide circle of friends are the markers of a life well lived. We are taught that isolation is a failure, that if you are alone, something must be wrong with you. But this is a deception sold to us by a society that fears independent thinkers. The truth is that most social connections are transactional, superficial, and ultimately draining. They are based on mutual utility or shared distraction, not on genuine understanding or shared values. Think of the person who is surrounded by friends, yet feels profoundly alone when crisis strikes. When the facade crumbles, when the need arises to stand for something difficult, the crowd often disperses. The people who laughed with you at the party are nowhere to be found when you need them to stand with you against injustice. This is the harsh reality of the herd. It moves toward comfort, not toward truth. It seeks the path of least resistance, and if your principles require you to take the hard road, the herd will leave you behind. True connection is rare. It is not found in the number of contacts in your phone or the likes on your posts. It is found in the few souls who can withstand your truth, who do not require you to wear a mask, who value your integrity over your agreeableness. These relationships are difficult to attain because they demand honesty, vulnerability, and a willingness to face the uncomfortable realities of life together. They are selective, reserved for those who have earned the right to enter your inner circle. Most of what we call socializing is just a performance of intimacy, a dance of words and gestures that masks a deep emptiness. We gather together to avoid facing the void, but in doing so, we create a different kind of void within ourselves. Loneliness is not being alone. Loneliness is being surrounded by people who do not know who you really are, people who love the mask but would recoil from the face beneath it. When you prioritize quantity over quality in your relationships, you dilute your own essence. You spread yourself so thin across so many superficial connections that there is nothing left for the ones that matter. You become a public commodity, accessible to everyone, owned by no one, not even yourself. The courage to be selective, to walk away from the crowd, to endure the stigma of being antisocial is the first step toward reclaiming your dignity. It is the recognition that your peace is more valuable than their approval, that your truth is more important than their comfort. So, how do we navigate a world that demands our participation without losing our minds in the process? The answer lies not in total withdrawal, but in what we might call principled detachment. This is the art of engaging with the world while remaining anchored in your own sovereignty. It is the ability to walk through the crowd without letting the crowd walk through you. Imagine yourself as an observer, an anthropologist studying a strange tribe rather than a desperate participant trying to fit in. When you shift your perspective from participant to observer, the power dynamic changes. You are no longer seeking validation. You are gathering data. You notice the patterns of behavior, the unspoken rules, the subtle manipulations. But you do not internalize them. You maintain a mental fortress, a sacred space within your mind where only your own truths are allowed to reside. In this fortress, you practice the discipline of silence. You learn to hold your tongue when the group demands conformity. You learn to say no without apology when a request violates your principles. This is not easy. It requires a strength of character that most people never develop. It means accepting that you will be misunderstood, that you will be labeled as difficult, arrogant, or cold. But these labels are the badges of honor for those who refuse to sell their souls. You must integrate affirmations of sovereignty into your daily life, mantras that reinforce your boundaries. I erase what drains me. Time is my ally. These are not just words, they are shields. They remind you that your energy is finite and precious, and that you have the right to protect it. When you are in a social situation that feels toxic, visualize a barrier around you, transparent but impenetrable. Let the noise hit the barrier and fall away. Do not let it penetrate your core. Practice the art of strategic compassion. Be kind, be helpful, be present, but do not sacrifice your integrity to do so. Protect the vulnerable, fight for justice, but do not let the chaos of others become your own. This is the balance of the sovereign mind, to be in the world but not of it, to interact with grace but without attachment to the outcome, to offer your hand but keep your heart guarded until trust is earned. It is a disciplined behavior, a daily practice of choosing yourself over the expectation of others. It is the realization that you cannot save everyone and you cannot please everyone, and that trying to do so is the fastest route to self-destruction. In the end, the mind is the only territory you truly own. It is the fortress of your identity, the seat of your conscience, the source of your power. If you allow the world to colonize this territory, if you let the noise of the crowd drown out your own voice, you cease to exist as an individual. You become a phantom, drifting through life, shaped by every wind that blows, owned by every hand that reaches out. But if you guard your mind, if you cherish your solitude, if you dare to stand apart from the herd, you discover a freedom that few ever know. You find that true strength does not come from the support of the masses, but from the certainty of your own convictions. You realize that the most powerful thing you can do is to remain unchanged in a world that demands you change. The journey back to yourself begins with a single step, the decision to stop performing. It begins with the courage to sit in silence, to listen to the quiet voice within, and to follow it wherever it leads, even if it leads away from the crowd. Your legacy will not be built on how many people liked you or how well you fit in. It will be built on the integrity of your choices, the depth of your character, and the truth you dared to speak when everyone else was silent. Protect your mind as you would protect your family, with fierce love and unwavering vigilance. For in the sanctity of your own thoughts, in the clarity of your own solitude, you will find the only peace that matters. The world will try to pull you apart, to fragment you, to dissolve you into the collective. Do not let it. Stand firm, hold your ground, and remember that the price of belonging is often the loss of oneself, but the reward of solitude is the recovery of everything you are. Choose wisely. Choose yourself. Anyway, that's just how it feels to me right now, sitting here with the hum of the refrigerator in the background, watching the dust motes dance in the light. It's quiet, and for once, that's okay.